Welcome, one and all, to the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast for our Road to WrestleMania preview and Royal Rumble Fallout review, folks. Yes, I am your King of Extreme, Phil KOE, the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man that makes it the podcast hour, the prince and potentate of the political parlance, the lord of the Scottish Highlands, one handsome man, if I do say so myself. You can, of course, find me, KOE Nation, on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and Twitter. And yes, folks, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, where you can find me, KOE Nation. Tonight we are on the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, and we're going to be looking into all the happenings that went down at Royal Rumble, and we're also going to be getting into a bit of a preview for WrestleMania. So yes, folks, Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast right here. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. I know we've been slacking. We've even been a little lackadaisical. Dare I say we have. But regardless of it all, folks, we may not be first, but we will be right. The Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast. And now I am joined by my indomitable broadcast partner, the one, the only,
the 16-time Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast champion, non-chill filtered, quadruple distilled, your blend master of ceremonies himself, and your reigning, defending Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast champion, Tony motherfucking G. And you can find me at all of my podcasts and social media platforms at Linktree/Tony the Rod. And we are back again with the Road to WrestleMania and a post-Royal Rumble edition. Yeah, Phil, we were, pardon me, sick of being tardy, but here we are anyway. And we're going to get this out, and we're going to talk Mania and a little bit of Rumble.
That well done, by the way. I'm jealous. I'm stealing that someday.
Thank you.
But yes, folks, we're back into the road to WrestleMania 41, even, or as I like to say, the 1 year anniversary of one of the worst events to ever happen in the history.
Greatest WrestleMania ever, WrestleMania 40, where Phil's Bruno Sammartino Roman prediction was completely fucking wrong, and thank God for it.
Tony, I actually have evidence. Now it's gonna take some connective tissue here, but I think that match might have been fixed. T.
Do you? Do you?
You know, okay. Now my document, it's from the New Jersey State Athletic Commission from the 80s. But we'll get into that later.
All right.
But
all right,
I think on appeal, I'm gonna be able to get that loss overturned. Okay, in wrestler's court on appeal, I think I'm liking my chances. So, but sparing that, as it looks, let's get right into the Rumble.
Yeah.
And it was a stacked card. I thought we were getting into an AEW pay-per-view.
I know. So many matches. All four of them. And here's the thing. We talked about this in the predictions and the previews of the Rumble about how this is going to be Triple H's really his first attempt at having the reins and planning a Rumble, because last go around, yeah, he was in charge, but it was still kind of, it was new, you know, he'd just taken the reins,
baby.
Yeah, you know, he was still kind of righting the ship and taking the reins. So this was his first go around with actual control, and it's quality over quantity anymore with these premium live events of WWE, because you don't have to stack the card. They do that once a year. It's a 2-day ordeal. It's WrestleMania. That's when you try to shove everybody down everybody's throats and get everybody on the card. So, yeah, this didn't have to be that. And the Rumble never does, especially when you've got 2 1-hour-plus matches, okay? You can't fit... AEW, sure as hell, would put another 3-4 matches on this card. Thankfully, WWE didn't do that. Quality over quantity. And I think we got that this time around. So let's start off with the Women's Rumble. I'll be frank, this wasn't...
This philosopher king must be heard. Jesse West. Tony is a paper champion just like Cody. We know the belt should be on KOE and Roman still. Okay, this philosopher king, T, But here in Fillmore County, we make sure that the voice of the voiceless is heard, much like it will be later tonight. Okay.
Hey Phil, I just talked about quality over quantity, and you're trying to make the show run long. That's quantity, and quality would be wasting our time with trash comments like that from, well, let's face it, the king of paper champions, Mr. West. There he is. So,
you've been called out. The look on Tony's face made that worth it. Yep, just that deep, like that. Tony, of anybody you know, if you want that deep, like deep dissatisfaction, you'll get it out of T. Like it's really unto itself.
maybe it's just you.
Apparently chicken too. So
Well,
now
that goes without saying. So listen, the women's rumble, it started the show, and it kind of had to, because you can't have if you're gonna have two of them, you gotta space these things out. And
I remember the first year they did it, that was the main event, because it was such a weird oddity that we all were just so curious how they were going to do it, that it became the main event of the Royal Rumble. And it was actually the right move to put it on last the first time they did it. Now it's got us, like I said, like I still consider the men's rumble the real rumble. The women's rumble has to put in a few more years to really establish itself to main event status again.
It's not that it's not the same concept, because it's absolutely the same concept. It's that we've only really had one women's rumble since the inception of it that actually meant headlining WrestleMania, and that was the year that Becky Lynch won it. And even that came with some controversy when they had to add Charlotte to the mix. And in retrospect, at the time we were questioning it, but I really liked the build on the last couple weeks going home, and I think adding Charlotte to the mix definitely helped that match become kind of what it needed to be. So that didn't upset me in the long run. Now, this being said, again, Triple H's true first year really manning the ship and having the Rumble all to his own. The Women's Rumble, I don't know. I actually enjoyed 2024's edition more than most did. It kind of got tore apart online in the internet wrestling community. I thought it wasn't bad. This one, it wasn't exactly better, but it definitely wasn't worse.
I can't remember which year. I think it was like 2023, maybe 2022. Can't remember the year, where we both thought that the women's rumble was actually better than the men's.
Yeah.
Where there's been
Might
years
have been
where
23. Yeah.
Okay. Like it was a couple of years back, but it was like, okay, that, and then the men's was kind of meh. But what I'm going to say this year, this was either feast or famine, really, in this match. You either got something really good or you got BFAB.
Yeah, and there was a lot of BFAB to be had. I'll be frank. There was the Rumble match. Unfortunately, you get a lot of standing around, laying around for other people to get their shit in, just to kind of kill time. And there was a lot of that in the women's.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say it now. In the men's Rumble, I mean, fuck, I don't think they should have even paid Penta for the nap he took.
Well,
for 40 minutes. There. Like, yeah, he was just. But yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, here in the women's match, they actually, the new debuts, and not even the debuts, but the folks that people aren't all that familiar with, they actually kind of gave them a little bit of respect. But can I just go? I'm going to go ahead and say this. I think the women's rumble should be 20 women. I don't think it should be 30.
You could definitely do that. It's just the backlash that would happen, and it would be better if it were. Now,
they might have to next year, because it's going to be in Saudi Arabia. There's going to be 30 people that 30 women that you're only going to be able to tell who they are by this. That's it. Or that's maybe they do it in 2 cities. Maybe they do the women's rumble here in the States. Part of me would kind of prefer that, just so that they don't have to go to Saudi Arabia.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So, Io Sky and Liv Morgan started at 1 and 2, and I'll be honest, like, those two really put in the work this year. Now, it wasn't just laying around, because they actually did work the match throughout this thing, and Liv Morgan especially, I think. Wow. And Perez set the record for the longest time spent in the Women's Rumble at 1 hour, 7 minutes, 47 seconds. The final 4 were Flair, Bella, Perez, and Jax. Trish Stratus got in there, Hall of Famer, looked good. Nia Jax, thank God, didn't win, looked god awful. Can't say anything bad enough about her. Alexa Bliss.
I'm not like most girls because most girls can wrestle. Like, yeah.
Alexa Bliss did get the return. She was going to be my surprise return pick. I wish I'd have stuck with it. She looked great. Hasn't missed a beat. Been almost 2 years.
Well,
Becky Lynch, unfortunately, did not return on this one.
I will say, Tony, I mean, the score was just so fucking close. You would have needed the point anyway.
Yeah, well, we got Nikki Bella instead. I did get the point for Jordan Grace as the surprise entrant. I enjoyed that. She was really good again.
Oh, she was spectacular.
She just came back and looked good at Vengeance NXT.
And just like nobody's thrown Piper quite like that. So
no, so it was great.
Bounced right. Like that was great. Like
there were spots here, but it was like the last quarter of the match where business really picked up, which is to be expected, but still
first 10 people other than Liv Morgan and Io Sky was mostly like, hey, we need some girls.
Yeah.
We need some women to just be in the ring.
So
be fab.
Pretty much. And that's what they did. Your final 4, like I said, Flair, Bella, Perez, and Jax. Jax eliminated Bella. Flair eliminated Jax, and then Flair eliminated Perez to win the match, getting a world title shot. I'm just gonna say, and that's kind of why we waited a little bit to do this review, because the first week after the Rumble, you didn't really know what direction they were going to go in yet. They tease it, but they don't say outright, okay, here's who the winner is going to go after, because you gotta milk it for a week, and that's what they did again.
Now,
so
I think the fact that they had it was relative nobody, Perez versus Flair in the ring, and then it ends the way you think it's going to end. I think they did that on purpose to kind of tease the fans for later that night.
Maybe so, but
or
you got to, yeah, that could be. It's just a tease of things to come. So now Charlotte obviously has her choice to pick any world champion she wants to wrestle at Mania. She could pick the NXT champion. She's not going to do that again. That was a one-off, folks. That wasn't going to happen again. It was just so they could do her and Ripley, and they've done that twice now. But they did tease her and Ripley Volume 3 at Mania, which signed me the fuck up.
I think we might be closing out some trilogies at Mania. We'll see.
No, because it was made, I believe, official now. Charlotte has picked Tiffy Time to go after at WrestleMania. So I know it's not exactly Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair is not Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley, but we have seen that twice.
Should have been the trilogy.
It should have been, but I think this is more of a way to, you can do one of two things. You can get Charlotte to that. Obviously, they want to get her to 16 times, just like her father. Or this would be a massive way to cement a future star in Tiffany Stratton, which they are pushing her pretty hard. So I'm not going to tell you which way I'm leaning on this one yet. It's still too early, but both things are highly likely. So the match makes sense. And there's another person I like to face Ripley, and I'm hoping that's what we get it. We'll see what the Elimination Chamber brings, but I really, truly would love to see Bianca Belair. I don't think that's going to happen, because I think that Rhea Ripley Bianca Belair match at WrestleMania, that's what needs to happen. If not this year, it's got to be next. So
okay, here's my. A part of me kind of fears that Ripley and Bianca are going to style clash too hard.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
Like normally both of them are 4-star match machines. But normally when you put two folks that are 4-star match machine, like I don't know why. I just think they're either going to make sweet, beautiful music, or they're never going to wrestle again. That's going to be what's going to happen.
Well, they both kind of came out of NXT around the same time. And it's kind of been a study in contrast in the direction of both the women, because Rhea Ripley, you knew she was going to be a star just based off the look and her style immediately. And you can flip her heel, you can flip her face, and it's going to work both ways. Meanwhile, Bianca has been a John Cena face in terms of no, it's smiles, it's happy, it's bouncy, happy, go lucky. I'm very positive, very face, very baby face, and they have not really deviated that at all. If you're gonna do Bianca versus Rhea Ripley at any point, as hot as Rhea Ripley is right now, she kind of has to be the face. That would mean that elusive Bianca heel turn, and I'm really hoping for it because I think then, stylistically, a face Ripley versus a heel Bianca is going to mesh so much better than a heel Rhea and a babyface Bianca, even though you would think that would make more sense. I think the other way around would be better.
There's a way for the women's title match to main event night 2 of WrestleMania. Would you like to hear how?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair hair versus hair match.
Yeah.
You know I'm right. You know I'm right. Okay? Everybody be like, shit, are they going to cut Bianca's
Charlotte has to lose that.
Charlotte's a fucking team player, okay? Charlotte's gonna take the shaved head.
She'll do it,
okay? She would do. She's enough of a team player. She'd fucking do it, okay? Don't ever and like she'd look good with short hair for like the 6 months that she's got it, and it would be fine. But the suspense of is Bianca going to cut her hair? Do you see what I mean? That would probably end up main eventing night 2 even.
So. Yeah, Charlotte Flair has won another Rumble. She will go to Mania again. She will challenge for a world championship. And, I mean, this is... she got a good response when she returned at the Rumble. But, of course, she did. Because coming back out after that on Raw and following that, they treated her like a heel. And she was trying to play more the face, where it's weird because Tiffany's more of a heel, but she has the crowd right now. So... it's going to be interesting to see how they go forward with this.
Yeah. Now, keep in mind,
I don't know.
Also happy to see Charlotte because there was a stretch of entrances in that Rumble where, to quote Jim Cornette, you'd have to whack yourself in the face with a stick to see some stars. Okay.
That is true.
And so, all right. But now moving on to a match that everyone was so totally into. The crowd was on the edge of their seat.
No.
They couldn't help themselves. They literally, the entire time, they had to cut out all the "this is awesome" chants from this match, which was DIY versus the Motor City Madmen. Or Machine Gun. I'm sorry. Wow. Sorry.
Yeah, you were almost there. No, this I don't want to say this disappointed me, but yeah, DIY defended the WWE Tag Team Championships against Motor City Machine Guns, Shelley and Sabin.
Motor City Madman's Ted Nugent. Sorry.
Yeah. 2 out of 3 falls match, and this was pretty clear that they needed some action that wasn't Royal Rumble action to fill space.
Yeah, this is
fill time. Spot. And it's unfortunate because I like all these guys except for Gargano.
Yeah, I had a hard time giving a shit.
And that's the thing. I didn't follow this closely. It's a dead spot. But I wanted to see this. And I thought the match was good. I really did. Towards the end, I started getting into it, but it needed another gear. And the first fall happened pretty quickly. And that kind of always takes the piss out of a match of 2 out of 3 falls. If the first fall happens quick and it's not like a DQ so a heel can get an advantage, it just kind of takes the piss out of it. Why can't you just beat teams that quickly all the time then? And that's always in the back of my mind when that happens. So I don't know. That kind of took me out of it right away. But DIY got the first fall after Ciampa pinned Shelley. He was running knee strikes. Okay. And then the Machine Guns tied it up not long after Shelley pinned Gargano after a Skull and Bones. Good spot. That's fine. Now it's tied as we expected. So that's a little flat, but it was fine. And these guys worked well as tag teams. The psychology was there. There wasn't anything offensive at all. And the spots were seamless. Nobody's throwing botches out here. They set up for Skull and Bones agains, but then we got convoluted. Two hooded figures appear, causes a distraction, allowed DIY to hit meet in the middle, Ciampa pins Shelley, they retain the titles. After the match, it's a Street Profits are revealed as the hooded figures, and they go after both teams. So why even have them distract one team over the other if they're going to attack both? I mean, are you setting up a triple threat tag team? I don't know. It just, and I like the Street Prop. Well, I like Montez Ford, and they've really it's been hard for me to give a fuck about them.
Angelo Dawkins is present.
He is present. It's been hard for me to give a fuck about the Street Profits ever since the dumpster cinematic match against the Viking War Machine Raider review. And I love Montez Ford as an athlete. So I really hope he can break away at some point and be a single star. But because the tag team thing, it's kind of run its course with them. I'm sorry, it has. They're a good team, don't get me wrong, but I'm not even like ecstatic to see where this is going to go with these teams. I'm just like, let's see where one of these guys can go.
I'll never forget when we were watching the cinematic match of the Street Profits and the War Viking Raider Experience Thrill Ride.
It was not thrilling.
You at one point, like, I had like kind of like that stupid grin on my face from like when he went to grab the turkey leg.
And he used the force to get the turkey leg.
Yeah. Phil, this is not getting over with. Phil, is this getting over with you? Like you were chewing me out. Like, oh, what? Oh, sorry. Thanks, T. That shit almost got over with me for a second. So
almost, but I was there to bring you back.
Moving on to the.
Well, hang on. Before we do that, I do want to mention the WWE did do some cuts here recently, and I would expect that that's going to continue. So keep your eye. Like, don't get me wrong, they just got the machine guns, and Ciampa and Gargano have kind of been golden boys. But in Angelo Dawkins, that's one that could be on the chopping block. I'm not saying that to be a dick. It's just kind of the truth because Montez Ford is the money moving forward. I'm just saying.
Tony. You don't see Angelo Dawkins main eventing WrestleMania.
Yeah, I don't. Moving on. So we moved on to the undisputed WWE Championship being defended in a ladder match. Champion Cody Rhodes versus the winged eagle thief Kevin Owens. And this, I almost felt like needed to be after the Women's Rumble because I didn't want it to be the dead spot, but somehow DIY and the Machine Guns got the dead spot because this went on before the Men's Rumble and it actually worked. I would have done it differently and I would have been wrong. This was an absolutely different animal altogether. And that's what I liked about the 4-match card because you had a Women's Rumble, you had a 2 out of 3 tag match, you had a singles ladder match, and then another Men's Rumble match. So there was a lot of variety here. And this was not a traditional ladder match because they really went for more of just a nasty, dirty brawl through most of it until they started doing the spot fest with the ladders.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like it was just spot fest after spot fest. And that surprised me. Because Kevin Owens is 1,000% fuck yeah, let's cripple ourselves with the ladder. And Cody Rhodes is 1,000,000% guilty of overbooking his own matches. That's the greatest part of him not being a VP in the WWE because in AEW, it was, we got to get everybody into my match. I mean, from my fucking wife to my kids to my dog to my brother to 3 people that my opponent has feuded with in the last 10 years to the fucking janitor to some of the commentators to Tony Khan himself. So that hasn't been a problem in WWE.
And his wife again.
And then his wife again, of course, 3 more times. But it's nice.
And Brandy.
It's nice when you can see what Cody's vision is and then he's saved from himself by one of the agents. Because this wasn't overbooked, but it always teeters with Cody. It's always teetering. And you know what I'm talking about when you're watching the match.
You know he squeezes one more spot in that the agent said, I don't know about that one. Well, we got to go for it, Kevin.
And then they do. So this was, it was pretty good, honestly. I really actually did enjoy this. During the match, Owens attempts a package pile driver, Rhodes counters, and he backdrops Owens onto a ladder. And I mean, the thing's V'd out on its side. The small of Owens' back, like just brutal to watch. Like literally, it looks like it should put him out of action for months. And then not long after that, Owens hits a fisherman buster suplex off like the middle rope onto Rhodes, onto a ladder that was bridged inside the ring. And I mean, they bounce off this thing like pinballs. Again, this should have severely hurt both of these guys. Ridiculously dangerous spot, both of these. It was actually kind of hard to watch. So then you get the convoluted Sami Zayn story. Like, he's friends with both of them, but he goes further back with KO, so maybe he'll turn on Cody. He checks on both of them, and then he doesn't really do anything. He's just kind of there. I don't think it added anything to the match because he didn't really get involved. Had you, like, again, I was just saying how Cody overbooked stuff. Well, this was underbooked in this aspect of the story. He was really a non-factor. He was just kind of there. So then he
did kick him in the end.
Yeah, sure. Something. No.
But what I will say is Owens took one of the nastiest bumps I've seen in years.
So yeah, that's what I'm getting to, because they continue, they get out to the announce desk. Owens tries another package pile driver, but Rhodes counters, and he picks him up in an Alabama slam where you've got the guy draped over your back and held by the back of the knees, and you swing them over the top of your head.
Alabama slam.
And as he does that, he dumps Kevin Owens into a ladder that's bridged between the ring apron and the announce desk. Owens literally, like, the small of his neck, the back of his head, and the tips of his shoulders took essentially 99% of this bump, and it's the hardest thing to watch in the match, and that's saying something. I don't know how he didn't get hurt. I really don't, because he's a hefty boy. He's got a lot of weight, especially in the upper body. It should have broke his neck. It was a stupid spot to take, but good Lord, did it look incredible. Cody climbs the ladder, gets both the belts. He's still your champion. Zayn checks on Kevin after the fact, and Cody gets his shot in the background over a defeated, bloody Kevin Owens. Really good ladder, and I must admit, I liked the spots with the mini ladder that had like two small rungs on it. They actually made good use of that, and it almost kind of made sense. Not, it's a gimmicky thing in the middle of this. So overall, I really liked the match. I was surprised. I thought it was going to get overbooked, but it was just right. It towed the line a bit in a few spots, but overall, really good match.
Yeah, I'm gonna give that 4.5 out of 5 stars too.
I'll go 4.25. It was
a definitely match of the night. I mean, Royal Rumble never counts. You can't say that's match. Like, it's very hard to call it because it's always gonna be great because it's got so much star power. It's got 30 people in it, so yeah. It's always. But well, now the moment of the night was the Rumble, which we'll get to.
So yeah, that leads obviously into the men's Rumble, but we know Cody Rhodes is the champion still. He's going to either face the winner of the Rumble, or he's going to face the winner of the Elimination Chamber. Or if something else happens where a number one contendership gets put on the line in between now and Mania, maybe we'll see. Because there's a lot of ways they could go with this, and that's the great thing I've liked about Triple H's booking so far. They dip their toes in a lot of shit as they're doing a storyline. And they're doing these big storylines very, very, very well. They're long-term booked, but they're not ignoring the rest of the roster while they're doing it. And that's how they used to do it when he was up and coming. And I think that's why it's so prevalent now with his booking, because they're not ignoring what could be off to the side. And that's so very important to setting up the next feud, because under Vince, under the last almost a decade, I'd say, it was very cut and dry. These two guys, these three guys, this tag team, these girls, and it's very much tunnel vision booking. When they're done, they're done. The next night, they all move on. And it was start and stop. With this Triple H booking, you can feel future feuds being teased and mentioned and
Layers.
slowly built, seeds being planted. Yeah, layers. It's so very important. And with Cody,
He
he's
must
been
have
so
Pat Patterson's old notebook.
yeah. And with Cody, he's dipped his toes into so many different lakes. Like, which one's he going to end up with? And we'll talk about that after the men's rumble. So here it is, the main event, the men's rumble match. Mysterio and Penta start the match 1 and 2 respectively, and this was it was a nice little tip that I thought this was kind of nice because this is one of those things like, oh, you've got Penta coming in. I want to see him against Mysterio. What a nice tease this was because you didn't get the match, but you got a sample. And I like that. It was like a little Baskin Robbins ice cream sample. Okay, I see what we could have there. Unfortunately, though, Penta was eliminated like a minute and a half in, but we had to pretend that he wasn't.
No.
So that kind of sucked.
Yep. Like, here's the thing, Penta, he's pretty good, but I get the feeling the bright spotlight, he is finding it somewhat blinding, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It makes sense because in AEW, he was put on a pedestal just by default because he was one of the early signings, and he was on that first card with Phoenix and the Young Bucks in that ladder match in Double or Nothing, the original one. And he was just kind of always regarded as tag team, luchador, high spot, crazy shit. And that was the niche. Well, he's been brought into WWE, but he's been treated like a much bigger deal and put in a light that he's never been in. And you know he's going to take risks. And whether that's him diving off his shit or trying to make stuff look as wild as possible, like being thrown over and almost eliminated, he takes some risks. And it didn't pay off this time because, everybody saw the foot finish.
I think it's also, like I said, the bright light and the precise camera shots.
Mm-hmm.
Some of his imperfections are starting to stand out.
Sure, but overall, I would say it's fair to say that overall, luchadors don't really tend to do amazing in the Rumble match.
This is my honest take here. You might think this is a little crazy, but after the new toy feel of Penta kind of goes away and he becomes just one of the boys, before he becomes one of the boys, I think they set him down to NXT for an almost immediate world title run.
I would be all for that.
I think that would, because Ray Phoenix still has 6 months before his contract. He can get out. So
they could do that. They could do
that.
But
also, I do have to say, well, I don't want to jump ahead too far. So what do you got next, T?
So, like I said, the only real luchador I feel like thrived in the Rumble matches is, of course, Rey Mysterio. Everybody else just kind of has, oh no, are we having a Mil Mascaras moment? But I digress. We're going to go.
What do you mean by that?
Hey, I'm going to jump up to the top of the turnbuckle and eliminate myself because I'm either stupid or a genius.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. That's just kind of been my take with luchadors in the Rumble, and I have a ton of respect for him, but
now Conan,
Mysterio.
He had a pretty good take on that because Mil Mascaras, he jumps out on his own, and then Conan says in his mind nobody beat him, and that's why he did it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And so but all right, so
we're gonna jump ahead to number 8 was Akira Tozawa. But he was attacked by Carmelo Hayes, who'd just been eliminated. Tozawa takes like one forearm to the back of the neck, and he's just completely incapacitated. So he's carried to the back, can't compete. Triple H is like, somebody's got to go out. Somebody's got to go out.
So I Show Speed makes his fucking Royal Rumble and WWE debut. And while Braun Breaker's fucking eliminating somebody, he helps him. So technically, he's got an elimination in the Royal Rumble. And I don't think Braun really took too kindly to that, T.
Well, it was pretty ruthless because Braun Breaker, Jesus, Did you enjoy that spot, Phil?
Oh my God! It was one of the greatest things I have ever seen in the history of professional wrestling. Okay, when they say that Braun Breaker keeps his shit snug, yeah, he keeps it pretty snug. Let's call it that. Like, he just about speared him into another fucking time zone. Okay.
Yeah, so YouTuber iShowSpeed helps Braun eliminate Braun or whatever, and then as he's celebrating, Steiner is Breaker is running the ropes, hits the rope, and then flattens Speed with one of the stiffest, hardest, most crushing spears you could imagine. Oh boy, what a spear! If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It was amazing.
It's unto itself, really, because
Truly.
like, and you could, like, if you look at pictures of him, he's like looking up like, what just happened? Like, because yeah, all right. First of all, you could tell between him and Otis, they would have paid money to do these spots. Okay, like they would have paid good money to be allowed to spear iShow's because, boy, let me tell you, if there's one thing that wrestlers hate, it's, you know, just Johnny come latelys that think they're just going to steal the spotlight from all their hard work. And so, yeah, then Steiner, you know, we can call him what he's eventually going to be. They pick him up. He picks him up, and he just sucker shits him up too, because iShowSpeed's not really here. Let me jump up to help you anymore. So he literally sucker shits him all the way up, no help, and then throws him to Otis, who then throws him on the table. That apparently cuts him all up. And so he literally is concussed. And I watched his stream. Have you watched his stream?
No.
Oh, it's delicious. You need to. They literally have two guys carrying him. They put him on the cart. They have to cart him out of the arena. And his cameraman still got his camera in his face. And he goes, "Guy, I'm never doing WWE ever again." No, like, and yeah, he's heavily concussed. Like, he's like, with the minute I saw that, like, oh, dude, he's like, no, for the next 3 days, yeah. So that was the single greatest moment in Royal Rumble history. Was
go that far, but all right.
Well, it's also the most viewed moment in WWE history, with over 300 million views in 24 hours.
Brutal.
So, like, yeah, Braun Breaker spearing iShowSpeed into another fucking universe. It was the most viewed WWE clip of all time.
Yikes.
Yep. Now, hey, if you had to pick one, if you could only pick one, yeah, it would probably have to be that.
I guess.
So moving on.
So yeah, we're gonna move on past the YouTuber. This was one of my favorite spots because at number 15, surprise entrant, TNA World Champion, say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Makes his Royal Rumble debut. Was fucking great. He even got a choke slam on Breaker, wasn't it? Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Treated him with some fucking respect.
He did kick Roman Reigns in the gut, and Roman sold for him. He does his little thing. And then, you know, come on. It's Roman. It's the guy currently wearing Hulk, Andre, and Bruno's boots. Of course, the fact that you got to even grapple with him is an honor. Okay, so Joe Hendry, from what I've seen, not bad, guys.
No, he's a solid.
Minute his contract's up, he's probably coming.
Oh, absolutely, he's going to be an NXT main eventer for sure. Quickly, Reigns in at 16. He eliminates Breaker after Breaker hit him with a spear.
Oh yeah, that one was a bit snug as well.
Absolutely, but it made sense. Breaker hits him with the big one. And then Roman gets him back. So they gave him a back and forth. I like that. That's another little sprinkling of, hey, maybe they could do this down the line. He also eliminated Sheamus Hendry and The Miz does Roman. Miz was in at 14. Yank, fucking yank. Drew McIntyre came in at 17. And Shinsuke Nakamura, U.S. champion, at 19. And another one for me, AJ Styles returns from injury at number 21. And he looked great, which he always does. Big shock. Braun Strowman enters at number 22. And he went right after Jacob Fatu, who came in at 12 and fucking wrecked people, mind you, at 12. That was Jacob Fatu's fucking just perfect at the monster role. Absolutely adore it. Strowman, though, ended up eliminating Fatu, which I was surprised. So I think they're setting that up for another big showdown there where Fatu absolutely destroys Strowman, because that's what you have to do eventually.
Oh yeah, to get Fatu over,
For sure.
getting a big W over Strowman would really do it. Actually,
unfortunately for Strowman, he was eliminated by the man who cannot be seen at 23, the one and only John Cena.
For Tony, this is his last Royal Rumble.
And that was what he came out. The towel said, "For the last time." You're like, oh man.
For realsies.
I feel old.
No, okay. Now here's the thing. I could believe this is his last Rumble, because why would he want to do the hour and a half thing? But if he comes out with a last WrestleMania, I'm like, yeah, If you still have 2 working legs under you, there's something about that appeal of WrestleMania. It's just gonna, like, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the one guy that we never thought was coming back, came back for WrestleMania. Okay,
that's true.
Like, so he's never gonna do another Rumble. We did watch his last Rumble. That is true. I do believe that. But if he tells you that it's his last WrestleMania, wolf tickets. I don't believe it. Now, this will probably be his last Elimination Chamber, because why the fuck does he want to get into a cage again?
I sure wouldn't if I were him. I mean, why? Why
like,
would you?
Exactly. Now, if he wins, him and Cody would be one hell of a match.
Well, we'll get there. Don't jump the shark yet. We've got a little bit of Rumble yet.
Shit, don't want to spoil it for the folks.
Yeah, I know, if they haven't seen it in the last 2 weeks. Reigns and Cena has a standoff in the ring. Punk comes in at 24. You've got Reigns, you've got Cena, you've got Punk. 3-way stare-off, and then at 25, Seth freaking Rollins. So, holy shit. At this
point, I'm having flashbacks of Royal Rumble 1992. There's a lot of talent in the ring.
Oh, okay? Yeah, for sure.
Like... Yeah, in terms of Royal Rumble, like, everybody admits that the best WrestleMania is 17, but the best Royal Rumble match, that's 92.
The match, yes, 92.
Yeah. The rest of the cards, a typical early 90s WWF card. So,
yeah, top 3 for me is 92, 2001, and of course 2020.
Ooh, okay. Was that the one Nakamura won?
20?
Yeah. Or was that Roman?
That was Drew McIntyre.
Fuck, that's right. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot.
Well, I knew that. So with with those 4 in the match now, you've got so many stories here. Like, obviously, you and I thought it was going to be one of those 4 men, because I had Rollins picked as my top guy, Punk as my second, and Cena as my 1. You had Roman as your top, Punk as your second, and Cena as your 1 point. Like, it has to be one of those 4 guys. Sure.
Obviously, it should. Like, I mean, Money Sense says one of them should.
Right. So, but here's the thing with the Rumble. At one point, it was like a way to build a new star, not get a current or old star into the main event. And that's what it's kind of become. So, yeah. Keep that in mind.
The minute I saw this T, and I saw 70,000 people all doing that, I'm like, fuck. They might actually do this. They might actually give it to Jay, because, like it or not, he's got one hell of a reaction out of the people now. And that's what T, when it was over, you again had 70,000 people doing this shit. You and me, we go to the arena. we're going to be doing this. You know I'm right.
So the final entrant was Logan Paul at 30. I love this. Logan Paul was fantastic in this. Go figure. He's good at everything he does. And anybody who doesn't like him is just not very smart. I'm sorry. So with everybody down, Reigns and Rollins tried to eliminate.
Wait. Say that again.
I said if you don't like Logan Paul, you're not very smart.
Oh, okay. I thought you said the opposite there for a second. I was like, whoa, bro. Here's the thing. Logan Paul, personality, like, you know, with anybody, you can take or leave that. I don't know much about him as a person. I don't follow his social.
I don't care about him as a person. I'm talking about the artistry of his wrestling.
If, like, this is kind of like what Brock Lesnar could have done in the early 2000s. If he dedicates himself to professional wrestling, he could be one of the greatest that ever lived, and probably the greatest that ever lived. Now, the problem with Logan Paul is like 20 times worse than Brock Lesnar's problem, and that's distraction. There's a lot of different things that he wants to do, and so he can't dedicate as much time as he would need to this one craft. And that's Brock Lesnar as well. If Brock Lesnar would have never gone to the NFL or to the UFC, he would have become the greatest professional wrestler that ever lived.
And if he wouldn't have gotten into golden showers and scatting with Vince. Moving along.
Allegedly.
Sure, allegedly.
I don't know if that's, but, well, Tony, Vince has got, judging by the shit that's been going on lately, Vince has got a way better legal department than we do. So we just had to throw that one in there. Because, that guy's, jeez.
All right.
He's got all the lawyers of the Eastern Seaboard putting time in for him.
Okay.
Anyways,
Phil, let's get through this. It's been 2 weeks.
Let's eat that.
So Reigns and Rollins are trying to eliminate each other. Punk sneaks up from behind and eliminates both of them. And it's like, at one point you're like, okay, I knew at some point some of these guys had to go, but even when it happens, you're like, holy shit, it happened. Punk did it. He's going to win this fucking thing. But your final four are Punk, Cena, Logan Paul, and Jey Uso, and you're like, well, obviously it's not going to be Logan Paul. It's not going to be Jey Uso. It's going to be Punk or Cena. Holy shit, what a final two it would be if it's Punk and Cena. But Punk gets eliminated by Logan Paul. Holy shit.
Ouch.
Didn't see that coming.
Hurt.
Oh, it's amazing, though.
Yes,
because you don't see it coming.
Yeah, I was like,
there's no ouch here.
I kind of wanted Punk to win. Okay,
I did too. I absolutely wanted Punk to win, but having Logan Paul do it being a surprise, and we both fawn over Logan Paul, so this was perfect. And outside of the ring, you've got Rollins, and he gives a curb stomp to Reigns. He attacks Punk, and then another curb stomp on the steel steps to Reigns. Now Reigns has a reason to be gone for a bit because he didn't win the thing, and Punk and Rollins are going to be feuding. So this was perfect. So Cena attempts the AA on Logan Paul. Jey hits a super kick on Paul, follows by Cena clotheslining Paul over the top rope, gets rid of Paul. It's Cena and Uso. Your final two. You're like, oh man, wow, okay.
So John Cena.
Good for them.
He's going to win his last Rumble. That's so nice of him.
That's what you think. And you're like, oh, okay. It gives Uso some total cred. It gives Cena a win. All right.
Yeah, a little bit of cred.
Then they get over top of the rope. They're on the apron. Uso hits a super kick, but he holds on. He gets an AA on Uso. Uso lands on his feet inside the ring and then knocks Cena off the apron. Jey Uso wins the fucking Royal Rumble. Didn't see that coming even when he was the last guy in there with Cena. Like, holy crap. And we've talked about it, and he's over, and it makes sense, I guess. You want to establish another talent. This is how you do it. I'll be frank, I'm not.
The problem is, like, T, let me sum up your frustration here.
I don't know if you can.
I think I can. Remember when we were going into SummerSlam many years ago, Braun Strowman had the Money in the Bank briefcase. He was on mother flipping fire. Okay. He was on fire. He was as over as anybody could ever be. And he was close to being the next Steve Austin, truth be told. Instead,
I don't
they
know if that far, but yeah, he was
pulled
pretty good.
they pulled the rug right out from under him, and they went with Brock's booking that made everybody but Brock look like an idiot that night. And Braun, like, he never quite recovered after that. And so I think a lot of people's like internal question, whether they put voice to it or not, is why Jimmy? Jay. Why Jay? Of all the people that have always had all this momentum and all this fire behind them, why is Jey Uso the one that's getting it?
I get the sentiment, yeah, and you're right. Like Braun, yeah, Brock Lesnar is the reason that Braun Strowman didn't get over, because Braun Strowman
had bigger arms than Brock.
No, it's because he potatoed Brock in the middle of a match one time.
Oh, that was right.
And he's never forgiven him for it. So he's fucked over Braun in a Hell in a Cell non-finish angle. He fucked him over with the briefcase angle. And then Braun had to do all the nonsense with Bray Wyatt cinematic horse shit. And then he had to lose to Wyatt and Roman to start the Roman thing. Like, Braun never has ever recovered from any of that. But moving back to this, it's Jey Uso's turn right now, and it's Jim Cornette, love him or hate him, he's right. It's the hot dogging. And if you don't understand the term, it's kind of what The Rock used to do. It's really flashy offense that makes absolutely no logical fucking sense. Because if you're fighting somebody and you take the time to like wave your hands around and dance a little bit before you deliver a strike, you're going to get your fucking ass kicked. And that's 90% of Jey Uso's offense is jumping around, dancing, and you're not doing capoeira. You're just swinging your arms around. And it's
Tia, hit you with a jab.
Yeah.
But first, jab. Yeah. That's the way fights go. But
it's
yeah,
like if the road dog, like if you were punching the road dog and he stopped to do a fucking little shuffle in the middle of the fight. But that's all of Jey Uso's matches. So
in Road Dogg's defense, though, he hits you in the face with 5 jabs in a row, so you're at least a little dazed. And so you can at least make, because, he looked boom, 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 bam, okay? Like that, you can still see through the BS, okay? You can still see through the nonsense. But with Jay's, it's literally like, whoa, guys, whoa. What?
It's like he's in a dance club while he's fighting. And once you see it, you can't unsee it, and that's the problem. And here's the thing. He doesn't need to be Guy Smiley. Like, you've turned him in to pre-The Rock, Rocky Maivia, in the way that you're putting him out there as a baby face. And that's not how The Rock succeeded. He succeeded by being serious, delivering fiery promos, and they've taken that away from him. Like, that's when he does his best work, when he's dead serious, when he's talking with passion and intensity, and you're like, oh, I can really feel this. And then he like gets into a fight. That would work. Flashy Guy Smiley, that doesn't work. I don't love that, and it's going to be an absolute failure. So
now that you say it, I understand what Jim Cornette means when he says he thinks he's The Rock.
Yes, exactly.
When Jey Uso, he thinks he's The Rock, so he can do all the flashies, you know, like. Now, I don't.
And they're dressing him up like pre-The Rock, Rocky Maivia. The blue and the white and the tassels and the
now I will say
too much.
It's looking like it's going to be him and Gunther.
Well, first off, what did you think of the Rumble match overall? Because honestly, I really liked the match. I thought it was probably,
other than the end, it was great.
I thought it was one of the best we've had in years.
Now, T, I also said that about the Fiend versus Seth Rollins Hell in a Cell match.
No, that whole thing sucked.
Other than the end, it was great.
No, it wasn't. God damn it, Phil. The red lighting throughout the whole match.
Tony, you know why it was great? Because up until the end, the audience was still fully invested in the Fiend.
No, they were invested in who the fuck is in the ring. Or they're sitting on the edge of their seats. No, they're leaning forward and squinting because they can't see. and I'm not wrong. So you've got Jey Uso. He wins the Royal Rumble, and now he's got the option to challenge. He's not going to go after the fucking NXT title. We know this. We're not going to waste our time here. He's going to either go after Cody or he's going to go after Gunther. And again, they took about a week to really kind of cement this out. He took on Gunther and lost at Saturday night's main event. So they've had a match before. Cody and he are in good terms, but it's like, hey, if you challenge me, I'm going to have to take you down. Sorry, I'm the champ. You're going to be in my way if you choose me. Gunther, you just can't beat me. I've already beaten you. Why embarrass yourself? Why waste this opportunity? Do yourself a favor. Don't come after me. And I love that. And I think stylistically, it's a way better option. Yes, he's picking Gunther because why in the fuck would you do Jey Uso Cody? That's not the match. That's not the match. That's just not the match. Cody can't. That's not the story. The story's not there. I can't even wrap my head around why you would do that match. So no, it's obviously not going to be Cody. It is going to be Gunther and Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I'll be frank, I think you have Gunther go over. I don't care if Jey Uso's over. Gunther is a better wrestler, and he needs.
I think you sacrifice that heat to get Gunther over more as a heel.
Yes, because it's a long-term.
Because everyone's going to hate him more.
Yeah.
Because he's a hateable guy. I mean, just look at him.
Yes,
okay?
That's the point.
He just looks like every bully that's ever bullied anyone in the history of bullying.
Yes, okay? And that's perfect. And he's great at it. And he's a great wrestler. And I hate the idea of taking the belt off of him. And I'll be frank, nobody respects the belt. So you need to establish a guy like Gunther with the belt to really get that belt over, because it's kind of been a disaster. Like Rollins was in one of his worst Rollins phases when he had the belt. Damian Priest was about as bland as it gets in terms of a title holder. Gunther has been fantastic carrying the belt around, but we all still think of it as the true Intercontinental title. You don't have to say I'm right, but I'm fucking right.
I mean, you're right.
I am right.
Real Intercontinental title.
And that's what it is. So
a guy like going to have a great IC run.
Gunther's got a great chance to really solidify this as an actual belt. So I just you're going to get short term.
Same with the UK title. He basically, hey Gunther, we need you to get another belt over.
Yeah, and that's what he does, and he does it well. He did it with the Intercontinental title, and now he's doing it with the World Intercontinental title. So I'm more like, are we going to sacrifice Gunther's reign for very short-lived, yay, Jay's the champ, and now it's another Priest run, because that's what it's going to be. I'm sorry. Once the novelty's worn off on Raw, he gets the you deserve it within a month.
He's going to be all teary-eyed. He's going to hold the belt like I got to sit. I've dreamed of this. This is my childhood dream, and I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to just be here.
You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it.
Meanwhile, the actual Rock would be like, forget you people. I do deserve this more than anybody because I'm better than everybody here.
Exactly.
And you are lucky to even be able to buy tickets to see me. Okay, like that's being a star. Okay, and so you deserve it. Like,
yeah, it's going to be very watered down.
That would be one chant I would hate to get.
So yeah, I'm just. Do you really sacrifice what Gunther's got for very short-term payoff that people are going to get sick of pretty quickly and go, yeah, maybe we should not have him as champion anymore? Because guess what? It's happened with Damian Priest. It happened with Kofi. You don't like it. You get what you want, and then you get bored of it really fucking quickly. So I don't care. Let's just not do it. Jay'd be a great guy to have lose the match to Gunther. Yeah. So let's do that.
But they're gonna give it to Jay just because.
I hope they don't, for Jay's sake, because I think overall it's going to be a failure. And if he's going to ever win the belt, it shouldn't be off of a failure. Turn him heel and let him be an intense dickhead. I think that's going to be way better. So Now we know.
I mean, I gotta be honest. Like, yeah, a barely established title on a barely established wrestler is not a very good fit.
No, and it's not going to work, and that's why
Like,
this belt
Tony,
has been a disaster.
The RWP title has more length, lineage, time, and legitimacy than the current World Heavyweight Championship. Okay, like if they would have, there's so many different ways they could have done that. But anyway,
There's so many ways.
but like now, Tony, two things. We need to get down to brass tacks because it's starting to smell like chicken upstairs.
Yeah, we need to. Yes, we're going to finish this out, and we're on the road to WrestleMania.
So
Yes.
the last question is, who's Cody facing?
So that's where we're left. We know that Gunther and Jay are going to be going head to head for the World Heavyweight Championship, and we know that Tiffany Stratton will be defending the WWE Women's title against Charlotte Flair, looking to add another mark to her established run. So we've got three questions, really. Who is going to be facing Cody? And it will be the winner of the Elimination Chamber. Who will be facing Rhea Ripley, the winner of the Women's Elimination Chamber? And who's going to face John Cena? First off, we know in the Men's Elimination Chamber, I had it.
Who do we know so far?
I think it's Cena, Punk, Drew, Logan, Priest, and somebody to be determined.
Okay.
And then in the women's, it's Liv Morgan.
That's not Roman Reigns, and the question is, who does Roman Reigns wrestle?
Yeah, see, I don't think John Cena is going to win this either, though. I mean, that's just me. And then the women's,
you have them wrestle each other.
Hang on. Women's Elimination Chamber, you've got Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Naomi, and one yet to be determined. And then also at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, you've got Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus versus Nia Jax and Candice LeRae, whatever. This is odd to me. So I feel like this is them trying to really establish, okay, Tiffany, you've been kind of a fun, bitchy quasi-heel, but we're definitely going to make you a face now because you're teaming with Trish Stratus. Obviously, you're going to get cheers. So they want to boo Charlotte, let her be a heel. They want to be cool behind Tiffany, let her be the face. This will make sense, and whoever wins that match, it's going to make way more sense. So you've got two elimination chambers. See, and this is what drives me nuts. You've got the Royal Rumble, you've got a men's and a women's. And then right away at the Elimination Chamber, you've got a men's and a women's. I mean, I get it. I understand it. But there's another way we could be doing this to get these
God
number
forbid
one
you throw in a third gimmick in there.
I don't know. There's another way we could do this. But we still have one to be determined for both of those matches. But it looks pretty good.
You could have done the Money in the Bank and Titan Towers again. You remember how much you loved that?
Fuck you. So going against Rhea Ripley will be the winner of Morgan, Belair, Bliss, Bayley, Naomi, and one yet to be announced. And I'll be frank, it's not going to be Naomi. It's not going to be Bayley. I would love it.
I think it's going to be Charlotte. She's going for both of them.
They could potentially do that. That's actually not
a terrible option. If they did do that, I'd love it. Like, yeah,
I would too.
She's really trying to get to that fucking 16 quick.
See, but this is what I think. I mean, you teased the Liv Morgan. She's going to be the last one to get eliminated because you could have that Rhea Ripley Liv Morgan match again, which has been the story for a good chunk of a year now. But I think this is how you get Belair into the match if you're going to do that match. I'd love to see Bliss. I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm actually pretty excited to see who's going to face Rhea Ripley. I think this is going to be this could be a really good Elimination Chamber match for the women.
No, all right, we pussyfooted around enough.
Now. The men's. This is big. This is huge. This is probably going to be the main event of night 2. Cena, Punk, Drew. Those three names right there all make perfect sense. The Cody Cena match, that's big money. That's big. Cody's had the belt for a year. Cena's coming back. This is his last run. It makes perfect sense. This is a good example of how to do a baby face versus a baby face. It's like a Warrior Hogan matchup at Mania in terms of baby face versus baby face. But CM Punk, it gives him, he's also a baby face. It's kind of the same idea, but this is him coming back to the company after being away for so long, and he really gets a chance to headlight Mania for the first time. It's the one thing he never got to do, and he's on the way out too. But Drew McIntyre, he's been so good as a bad guy under Triple H that, God, him and the Punk feud was just incredible. You could do this. This would be Drew McIntyre would be a great heel opponent for Cody into Mania. He's probably not going to win the belt, but God, it'd be great. He'd be intense. He'd make Cody look human leading up to the match. It'd be a triumphant battle and overcome for Cody. That's exactly what he needs, even as a champion. Obviously, Logan Paul is not going to win this thing, but dear God, a Logan Paul Cody Rhodes match, fuck it, I'm in. I'd watch that.
It'd be good.
Damian Priest, on the other hand, former world heavyweight champion,
Hang on, I'll be
like
right
it or
back.
not, he does make kind of sense if you're going to have guys fill this thing out. I don't hate the idea. He's got to get some momentum back if he's ever going to be back in the world title picture. This is the only way to do that, and Cody would be a great opponent for a Damian Priest because stylistically speaking, they could have a pretty methodical back and forth affair. And I think that would be a great match. I don't think that's the best option here. And who's going to be the one left open? Is it going to be Roman Reigns vying for a rematch with Cody at WrestleMania? That would be 3 straight WrestleManias with Cody and Roman headlining the thing. And I don't hate the idea. I really don't, because as much as I liked the main event of 40, it got really busy. And it kind of felt like Cody needed a lot of help to overcome Roman and all the help he needed, which I get it. It leveled the playing field, but it kind of did dilute Cody getting the W. Always what I thought when Stone Cold bashed The Rock in the head with the chair and let Mick Foley pin The Rock to win his championship. Yeah, he needed help, but it leveled the playing field because he was getting quadruple teamed by everybody else. So this would be a way for Cody to say, okay, I did it on my own this time. If he were to face Roman again at Mania and beat him this time, that would be a way to say, we did it fair and square this go around, and I was the better man. But the thing that I think if you're going to do Roman as the guy who wins the Elimination Chamber, you got to factor in CM Punk is still owed a favor from Paul Heyman, and they keep teasing this and bringing this up for a reason. CM Punk's got to get into the world title picture at some point, and he wants to be the headliner of Mania. Does
if
Roman
he don't do it this year? Does he ever?
Well, that's what I was just saying, though. He's running out of time. So if Roman were the mystery opponent in this match to be announced yet, and Roman won this thing because CM Punk comes up just short again, is that the favor from Paul Heyman? I want in that match too, Paul. Make it happen. And it's a triple threat. Punk, Roman, Cody. I think that makes sense. But here's the thing. I also think you could make Seth Rollins the other mystery spot. So if you did that, Rollins versus Cody at WrestleMania, that's why I picked him to win the Rumble. You could do that here and still get that back. And this would actually seal Seth Rollins back again as a top talent, finally getting that win against Cody after looking like such a buffoon last year at WrestleMania. So you've got a lot of options here. You've got Cena, you've got Punk, you've got Drew. It's not Logan Paul. You could potentially do Damian Priest. You've got Roman, and you've got Rollins. So you've got 6 real options to face Cody. And we've got the Elimination Chamber to get there. And I think this is going to be a fantastic Elimination Chamber. March 1st. I'm actually excited for this one. And this is in Germany, by the way.
I'd be the same.
Yeah, I'm going to look up what time this is.
So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. But, basically, T, I know you're going to be like, really? I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to they're going to give Roman Reigns the W at Elimination Chamber. He's going to be the to be announced. I think he's going to face Cody at WrestleMania, the trilogy. And Roman Reigns is going to set right the wrong of last year and reclaim his championship and restart from the very day he left off his title reign, because Cody's is completely illegitimate, Tony. Completely illegitimate.
All that nonsense aside, I think your most realistic chances here right now are Roman versus Cody 3 for the third year in a row, the trilogy, and Cody getting a chance to beat Roman by himself, Roman getting a chance to beat Cody by himself, no interference from anybody else.
Whoa. That first year, Roman, by the book, fair and square, down the middle. Okay, what are you talking about, T? You
again, I'm saying your most logical choices at this point are Roman versus Cody, are in a pinch Priest versus Cody, but it's not going to be that. Drew would be a good choice, but it's not going to be that. It's going to be Cena versus Cody, or it's going to be Punk versus Cody, or I honestly think at this point it's going to be the triple threat. Cena
Punk,
as much as I like Cena, Cody, I think it's going to be the triple threat of Punk, Roman, Cody. Again, I do like the idea of the Rollins, but I just don't know. I'm not sold there yet. I got to talk myself.
I'm going to be honest. If it's not Roman, Cena versus Cody is good, because it's a good send off for Cena.
Oh, why did I say Germany? Sorry, Phil. It's not in Germany. I don't know why I said that. It's in Toronto.
Okay. Well, pretty much. Okay. I mean, indistinguishable to you. I mean, you're just off by a few feet. Okay?
Yeah, just a few feet.
So
again, if I'm going to rank these options, Paul is at the bottom. Priest would be next. McIntyre would be the next choice.
I'd put Paul above Damian Priest.
I almost could too, but no, it makes more sense.
No, he's like Tony. Damian Priest in the main event of WrestleMania is snooze fest.
Phil, it's not going to be Logan Paul, because it's just not. I'm sorry, it's not. I would like Paul just because we like Paul better. It doesn't matter. It's not going to be him. It would be Priest, because they want to get some credibility back, because he's a former champion. That's why. Like it or not, it doesn't matter. That's how it is. I'm right. I'm sorry. I don't like it either.
All right. Well, honestly, I would say then Drew, then Seth.
I think Seth's higher than that. I think he's a higher option than John Cena, because I don't think this is the year Cena gets the title shot. I think it's next year. I think next year's the Cena. This is why I'm saying that, because I truly think who could also be an option for that last mystery spot, Phil, we haven't even talked about. Next year, I think for the last WrestleMania of John Cena's career, it should truly be John Cena versus Randy Orton for the Undisputed World Championship. And how do you springboard that? You make Randy Orton the last guy in this match, have him win this match, and heel Apex Predator, Viper, Legend Killer, bad guy Randy Orton goes after Cody. We've been wanting to see it since Cody came back. This is also a very good option. So there's like 8 realistic options for Cody Rhodes.
But I'm going with Roman. What's your final pick for now?
For now, I think I would pick the triple threat of Punk and Roman and Cody. And my next up with that would be Rollins. And I think my third option there would be maybe Orton, honestly. And then Punk or Cena.
That would, I think honestly, Orton Cena as the main event for SummerSlam. I think that's what you do. But
I think you've got to get a Cena Orton match in before either of them hang it up. No. You have to.
But well, Tony, folks are just going to have to tune in right here at the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast.
Yeah, we're going to keep breaking this down. Not every week, but as things start to break down and happen, we're going to start adding matches to Mania. We've only got 2 for sure that we know are going to happen. We got a lot of matches on a 2-day show, April 19th and 20th. It's Allegiant Stadium. It's Las Vegas. It's WrestleMania 41, for goodness sake, folks. We're on the road to WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania season, and we're going to be back here. That's why this is the first of several installments of the road to WrestleMania. This is just the post-Rumble version, and we've got a lot to break down as it comes in and happens week to week. We're going to find more out.
Excellent.
And as that happens, we're going to give you the ins, the outs, our thoughts, and we can't wait to talk about it more.
So, folks, as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, thank you for joining us here at the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast for this breakdown and analysis of the Royal Rumble and the road to WrestleMania. I am your King of Extreme, Phil KOE, the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man that makes the other podcasts cower. You can, of course, find me at KOE Nation on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and Twitter-X, depending on your political persuasion or how you think of Elon this week. You can find me on either one of them, folks. God bless every last one of you, and I can't wait to see y'all on the next one. And T, I can't wait to catch you a little later tonight at the local happening. So, God bless all y'all. Travel well.
Folks, again, if you're not already, make sure you go over to the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, specifically on YouTube, or go to the Big Buckin' Empire on Facebook. Hit subscribe on either, or both preferably. Another way you can get there, go here, Linktree/Tony the Rod. I guarantee you'll be able to find it from there. But we've got a lot of Road to WrestleMania coverage to talk about, and we can't wait to talk about it with you. And especially next time. Got a lot of people watching, but you're more than welcome to talk to us in the comments and give us your thoughts. So on the next one, keep that in mind, but be sure you hit subscribe to catch us for the next one, and we will see you then.
Peace.